Hello, I'm Suzanne Neufung, CEO of the Global Business Travel Association, coming to you live from the 2025 Canada Conference in Toronto. And here with me today is Kjarsten Philipsen, Senior Vice President of Americas for BCD. Welcome.
Yes, hi, thank you for, fantastic to be here at GBTA Toronto. Thanks for having me, appreciate it.
Awesome to be here. We know Canadian travelers are busier than ever, juggling work, family, and everything in between. So how do you cut through the noise to successfully engage in an audience who just don't have time anymore?
Yeah, so I would say we're definitely living in an era of 280 characters or less, whereby corporate communications need to be more closer to that news catching headline, right? That's going to draw that click or that view. Because if they're not, we're going to send out that important communication to travelers. It's going to get missed. And then I think you have to ask yourself, are we contributing or are we adding to the noise, as it were? So what we're finding is that in order to really cut through the clutter, you need to first understand where the traveler is at their point of journey and where context really matters. And taking a step further, understanding their media consumption habits is really key. So hypothetical question, you don't have to ask it, answer it, Suzanne, but when are you more likely to complete a survey? Is it after you've completed a trip and you return to the office and it's one of 1,000 emails waiting for you? Or are you more than likely to complete a survey, you return the car rental, you're on the shuttle bus back to the terminal, and we push you a co-branded 3 or 5 question survey asking about how your trip was, right? So in order to be really effective at communications, we need to first start by respecting the traveler's time, understanding the context of where they're at and their point of the journey, and then tailor the message for that piece of information they need there and there. And so, yeah, that's what we're kind of seeing regarding that.
I totally have been there, so I totally understand your hypothetical, and thank you for not making me answer that. There's certainly also been a lot of buzz around how communications impact performance of programs. So tell me about some of the smarter, more strategic ways companies can use communications to shift behavior of, I almost said buyer, but it's travelers.
Right.
Travelers are
Right.
buyers today. So, and in turn making performance of their program and improvements of satisfaction better.
Great question. So I would say from our experience from BCD's TripSource, which is our proprietary shopping, booking, and messaging platform, and then our sister company, Edvito, they have a service called Engage, which is a whole suite of services around traveler engagement. We're finding 3 key things that's really kind of important in crafting and delivering effective communications. So number 1, it has to be customized, it has to be tailored. Number 2, the travel policy has to live throughout the entire journey, has to be seamlessly integrated through the journey of the trip. And number 3, to your kind of alluding to your point, gaining that customer feedback and feeding that back into the system is crucial. So on that first point on customization, we offer 3 levels: core, standard, and custom. Core would be the things that you think of, right? You don't have to think about. They're part of your itinerary. They're part of, flight disruption, of course, duty of care. We just automatically push those out, right? You don't have to think about it as a buyer. There's no cost to you. It's just applicable to all travelers. Then the things you want to start thinking about as a buyer, then we have standard, the things that require configuration. Those are the information and the pieces of information you want to share with your travelers to make smart choices along their journey. So for example, we push you a notification, you're about to pick up your car rental, right? Waive that insurance, that kind of opaque spend that we can help influence. And then lastly, under that category of is custom, under customization, and that's where Edvito really comes in their Engage practice. So think about a marketing services firm, almost advertising firm within travel. So we'll use GBTA as an example, as a hypothetical company. You have WestJet, so thank you WestJet for sponsoring today's session as a preferred vendor, right? And Suzanne, you're doing a search from Pearson to Calgary. Well, we can create a banner colored in I don't have it here on, but I did a minute ago, the lanyard of the GBTA orange, which says that GBTA has WestJet as a preferred vendor on this route. Maybe some of the benefits of their partnership with Delta to really drive behavior at point of sale. So that's the custom. So the second that I mentioned was it's really crucial to have travel policy integrated throughout the entire process. You asked for examples, so I have an example. We had one customer, and these are decisions made typically outside of the booking tool. So we had a client that shifted or created and increased their spend or their share with their offsite parking vendor by 90% by just using smart communications, because those are the things we don't think about until we're ready to leave for the airport. And then lastly, traveler feedback. With that earlier example, would you complete the survey if it was sitting in your inbox, or we're going to push it? So again, GBTA, you've recently changed hotels from across the street at your headquarters. We want to know exactly what you think of that hotel the day that you're checking out. So we're going to push you a message. Maybe it's 3 or 5 questions, something short. And I know as a traveler, Suzanne wants to know what I think of this specific hotel. It's not generic. It's related to my program, thereby increasing the chances they're actually going to complete the survey. We're going to get that vital information. So yeah, we're finding that using marketing, communications techniques, strategies, tools, along with these platforms is really driving the needle in terms of behavior.
So that means you are collecting and amassing a ton of data.
We are.
So now, as we think about that wealth of data, it's coming from different places and different formats, and it's not always easy to piece together. More data doesn't always mean more insights. Yep. So how can companies take all of that fragmented data, if they're your customers, and turn that into a cohesive story that nudges travelers into the right direction?
Yeah. So Suzanne, you know me, so humor me. I'm a dad. So my wife and I have a mantra of trust but verify with the raising of our daughter. So we trust she's going to do her homework, but we need to verify, did she complete it to the instructions of the teacher? Did she turn it on time, etc.? So BCD customers can trust that the data that we're going to provide them, globally consolidated from 110 locations around the globe, is ISO certified standard. It's harmonized, it's represented in such a way that it lends itself to storytelling via easy to use dashboards that are drill down. Equally, if you as the travel manager want to run a report, we're now through instant query, be able to drag and drop column headings, create the report from scratch. It's quite easy, or choose from a selection or a library. So definitely our clients can trust the data that they're getting from us and leverage that data. Now here's where the verification part comes in. So we all know that there is some amount of spend that goes outside of the ecosystem of the travel management company. Some of it's natural, can be explained. This convention, for example, might be in booked direct, correct? Yeah. But there is also that rogue spend or leakage that could go outside. So Vito's come up with, and they've actually had it deployed for a while now, called Total Trip Insights. So they can take TMC data, in this case BCD, pull in credit card data, HR data, GL data, you name it, and create a holistic view to do that trust but verify. Are we actually seeing what we're supposed to be seeing through our approved channel in our ecosystem? So by deploying these tools and these solutions, now imagine we take that data and those learnings, and we're talking about communication a moment ago, we apply it to that marketing strategy. We've now identified maybe there is some alarming trend, that there's a little bit more leakage. Maybe the company had a lot of M&A over the last few years, and there's some companies that are adopting the program. We now can adopt the program to go after those areas that we've identified as problem situations.
So it starts with cutting through the noise, getting the right communication, and then having the right insights to drive that communication in the end.
Well, at the end of the day, it all comes down to delivering value. I mean, the travelers, in order to use the program, adopt the program, they have to be happy. So it has to be something that they gravitate towards. And for the client, it has to drive compliance, it has to reduce cost, it has to drive share to their vendors, it has to result in sustainable choices. And if we can achieve all of that, it's a good partnership.
I look forward to watching BCD progress on this. Thanks, Kjarsten, for your time today.
Appreciate it.
I'm Suzanne Neufund, coming to you live from the 2025 GBTA Canada Conference in Toronto.